Hello everybody, welcome to another review. Today I'm going to be reviewing the brand new album by The Last Dinner Party, Prelude to Ecstasy. Now this is the debut record of the Industry Plant band, which does not know what the term industry plant means. According to that quote, at least we write our own instruments or something like that. I don't understand what that has anything to do with being an industry plant, but maybe they're just not familiar with what the term is. Anyway, I don't know why I don't know why I mentioned it, but I just thought it'd be kind of interesting. Yeah, Last Dinner Party. So this is a band that pretty much just blew up out of nowhere, and I kind of explained it. But they had a big hit with Nothing Matters, which is one of I think it's the lead single of the record, and this one is definitely the one that's garnished a lot more attention for the band. Now, I went into this record not knowing what to expect, other than the fact that they're kind of more of an indie rock band with baroque pop elements to it, and I think the blending of that can work. But in my opinion, this wasn't really for me as an idea. There's a lot of inspiration from ABBA, I can clearly tell, and I do like ABBA. ABBA is something that I can kind of vibe with. I even like the Voyage album they released 2021, but yeah, I just don't think blending indie and ABBA necessarily worked quite as well as I thought it would. It's kind of a concept that sounds cool on paper, but execution I just didn't really vibe with that much. I mean, there's some pretty good some pretty good points to this record though. I do think the vocals are great. I think they're distinctive, and I even think the instrumentation isn't half bad. But I think overall a lot of it just becomes a bit of a slogfest. I feel like to try and go through Burn Alive, Caesar on the TV screen, The Feminine Urge, On Your Side, Beautiful Boy, it just kind of is a 5-track run of some of the more bland material I could think of from the band. And after the second interlude, it starts to pick up. I say Sinner, My Lady of Mercy, and Portrait of a Dead Girl are the highlight tracks. These just flow through. Each track is pretty decent, and I like the aesthetic, but I don't think it's really enough to save this album for me. It's definitely not front-loaded. I think the first half, as I mentioned, is just bland. Caesar on the TV screen is the only one I probably might reconsider going back into, but I don't know, I'm just not really a fan of the whole aesthetic of this record, to be honest. It's, especially towards the end, especially with Nothing Matters as well, the big hit track, this one just didn't do anything for me. I thought it was interesting that they changed the song lyrics so they could put the song on FIFA without having to say the F word because it's forbidden, but yeah, even then I just don't really care for it. I just never really appealed to it. This big song that everyone was raving about, I just don't really see it, to be honest. And Mirror kind of has a good finale to it, but I don't think all of this really adds up to a concrete album. I mean, I can see people liking it, it just isn't really for me. And necessarily, I do like to review some indie every so often, but this is probably one of the first indie releases I'm just not really a big fan of this year. We have also had the one by the Vaccines I talked about, but I'm going to be honest, this definitely has a lot more like personality, and it feels a lot more refreshing than the album. But that being said, I still just don't think this album is anything crazy. I'm curious to see how they would advance upon the sound, but as of right now, when it comes to industry plants, I'm going to have to say I kind of prefer Wet Leg. At the same time, I also really don't like Wet Leg. So that's kind of like my opinion there. But, you know, if something pulls me, it pulls me in. But The Last Dinner Party's debut, it just didn't really do that for me. I'm going to give it a 2 out of 5. It's nothing awful, I wouldn't say that. I feel like it's an album that could grow on me, and it is definitely one of the better, higher positioned, lower rankings of mine. I probably would say it's kind of a weak to alright record, but I just feel like this is a very, very meh album, and that's my opinion. So I hope you guys enjoy. Thank you so much for watching, and see you next video.